Hey Pretty Girl Club, so this is going to be a part 2 follow-up video to the skin bleaching video that I did recently. So for those of you who haven't seen that video, be sure to check that out. Also be sure to subscribe if you're new here. But she actually came back and she kind of like followed up on some of the questions you guys were asking her. By the way, the reason that I am putting out this series is because I do feel like there are a lot of things that the Black community in particular does not like to talk about or address. And so everything I expose on this channel is in direct correlation to those who try to gaslight me. So if I see a certain sector of YouTube or certain commenters trying to detract and deflect from what we're talking about, it's going to make me actually dig deeper and expose that more. I mean, I can't wait until some of the big YouTubers start talking about me. Oh my God, I'm going to be so excited. But anyway, one thing that I either forgot to mention or forgot to go in detail about in the last video, I might have touched on this, but she was talking about how secretive it is in the unambiguous community, the bleaching conversation. And she had talked to me about how a lot of the people in her community, in the dark-skinned Black American community that she was around, that there was a lot of conversation and speculation around what it is like to be of a lighter skin tone. I also asked her if she believes that most unambiguous African Americans are doing some form of mild bleaching, whether it is using kojic acid soaps or, taking supplements or whatever. And she said, yes, she believes that most of them are. And another hypocrisy I've noticed is that even if you look on YouTube skincare and beauty channels, unambiguous darker skinned mono Black women, they can use alpha hydroxy acid or kojic acids or any form of acid, because by the way, all acids are technically skin lighteners. But I've noticed it's not scrutinized when they use those things because they will say, oh, I have dark marks. But then let's say you're a light-skinned woman and you are using kojic acid or something like that, then suddenly people want to accuse you of trying to be white or they're trying to call it out. And so when I was talking to this woman, she was basically saying that that is fake outrage and that people want to shame others out of it because some of them kind of want to be able to keep it as their secret, for lack of better words. And so have you ever met someone who maybe they were extremely darker skinned when they were younger and then as time went on, they kind of gradually got lighter? So when I was talking to this same girl today, she was talking about how a lot of times it is because they are using different skin brightening methods and just gatekeeping it and saying that they're not and, not talking about it while simultaneously shaming other people. And one thing that I've noticed is a lot of people like to approximate themselves to those who are way lighter than them. And I really do feel like blurring the lines between light skin and dark skin or, throwing people in and out of categories such as brown skin can help someone who wants to hide their bleaching or whatever. It can help them to kind of navigate through a darker skin tone to a lighter skin tone without anybody really asking questions or like calling it out. And another thing that I have noticed is how when I made that Kelly Rowland video, I had some random unambiguous women in my comment section saying, oh, it's just lighting and hair colors. Meanwhile, I've already had multiple skin bleachers, unambiguous women who were Kelly Rowland's skin tone. I've already had multiple women confirm behind the scenes that her and many other celebrities are lightening their skin using glutathione IV treatments. We're going to go in depth because she actually told me all of the different methods that these people are using. By the way, I am in no way trying to shame women who go through colorism or women who, if it's so bad to where they feel they need to change themselves. I'm not trying to shame those women, but I do want to talk about this because I've noticed that people only want to talk about bleaching in regards to light-skinned people, such as Beyonce or, people like Megan Good or whatever. But I've noticed that the bleaching conversation when it comes to unambiguous Black American women, it's very silenced. And so she was saying that this is done on purpose because, number one, people don't want you to know their secrets. So you, as a light-skinned person who has maybe never encountered this, you might be thinking, oh, that's weird. Kind of like how I was with my friend who used to be like a milk chocolate. And then the next time I saw her a few years later, she was like paper bag color, basically. And I thought in my mind, like, could she be doing something to like alter herself? But then I brushed it off. I was like, no, maybe my memory is just off. But this woman, as well as multiple other bleachers, have confirmed as women who have Kelly Rowland's original skin tone, they have confirmed that it is not possible for you to go from coffee colored to damn near pastel yellow just because of, the seasons or whatever. Also, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the other video, but this woman was talking about how the whole skin bleaching community, first of all, apparently there's a difference between skin lightening, skin brightening, and skin bleaching. So, skin lightening, so I guess the skin lightening and brightening is like if you want to remove a dark spot or if you want to go from your summer shade to your winter shade. And then the bleaching is more like going from Kelly Rowland to like Michael Jackson or something. So it would be something where you're unrecognizable. But she was saying that it is so heavily gatekept to the point where there are secret Facebook groups about this. So like she was saying that in the Facebook groups that she's in, by the way, we're going to be talking about some of those Facebook groups today. I'm not going to be exposing anyone's account names or anybody's personal photo because YouTube doesn't allow doxing or anything. But she was saying how there are secret Facebook groups about this. You have to kind of like ask friends and family and stuff because she was saying that in the US, when it comes to people selling these bleaching creams and stuff, kind of the ones that you see in the beauty supply stores, she was saying that some of those creams actually do have a higher level of hydroquinone. So we know here in the US that hydroquinone is something that is only sold at about a 2% level. So for example, Ambi Fade Cream, that has 2% hydroquinone. By the way, oh my God, I put that on my foot one time. So I got dark spots on my toes because of my sandals. So my toes, like they got a tan, but it was like uneven. So I was like, oh, let me try this Fade Cream stuff because I have heard about it. Oh my gosh, why did I put it on my foot and I literally got a headache? I was like, how is it making me have a headache? And I remember one time I tried it again, not realizing that the cream was causing this. I remember I put it on the back of my neck, like on a spot. Once again, I had that headache. And then I remember trying it a third time. I put it on an acne mark and my whole entire chin like just broke out in pimples. So, but that was just for me, from me using it though. I think other people's skin, maybe it has a different sensitivity level. But she was saying how a lot of the creams that are sold here in the United States, they don't say it on the label, but they actually do have slightly higher levels of, I guess, hydroquinone and other skin lightening products. And she also said that they even have their own special language and terminology that they use in the skin lightening community amongst darker skinned unambiguous people, that they have their own kind of like terminology that they use to where if you are not a skin lightener, you won't know what they're talking about. So for example, she told me that they may use terminology like skin glow or like glowing skin. So you know how people say like, oh, I just want my skin to glow. I always thought of it as you were tanning your skin darker. I thought that was like darker skin people tanning to become even darker, like they want a darker glow. But now that I think of it, yes, I guess there are people who associate glowing skin with brighter skin and lighter skin. So she was talking about that, and she also kind of touched on how sometimes in the Black community there's this mindset of you don't want to be the darkest person, and how some people, even if they are lightening themselves, they may not want to become light-skinned or white, but sometimes it's more so that they're not the darkest or so that they don't stand out as being the darkest person. Also, I forgot to mention that if you are triggered by conversations like this, especially if you are a part of the unambiguous community, I recommend definitely not watching this video. This channel is really centered around women who do not identify with the mainstream talking points in pro-Black spaces. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention in the last video was how she said that the only people who kind of made fun of her for changing her skin tone were kind of like the hoteps or the people who were like pro-Black. But she said that she feels like even some of the hoteps or the pro-Black women are not as pro-Black as what they say. She was saying that she noticed that a lot of her fellow unambiguous Black women, they would say that they love themselves, or they would say like how amazing it is being unambiguous and stuff and having the features and the hair textures and the skin color. But she was saying that like she noticed a lot of hypocrisy and a lot of behavior that showed that they really didn't. So I call out that hypocrisy on this channel all the time. In fact, this series is going to call out hypocrisy. And depending on how other communities respond to this content, I will decide whether I will continue going deeper into exposing things or if I'll just, not do it. But she was saying how a lot of people in the dark skinned, unambiguous African American community that she had encountered, that they view this whole skin lightening, brightening, bleaching thing as like this secretive, almost like this elite knowledge. So she was saying how it's very, very highly gate kept. A lot of people will not say what creams they're using or what they're doing because there is a difference in the ways that they're doing it, I guess. So if a person does not have money, so she was talking about people in Jamaica. She said that along her journey of doing this, that she came across a lot of men and women who were on their journey, like whether it's in these secret Facebook groups. She said that people, they were sharing like products and progress photos. And she also mentioned that most of the people in these Facebook groups were faceless and that they would make fake Facebook accounts and then join these groups so that, none of your friends or family or Facebook friends can see like, oh, Johnny is in the skin lightening group. And she also said that it's very common amongst darker skinned, unambiguous Black men, and how a lot of them do not talk about doing this or, having this as one of their little habits. And she said it's also very common amongst gay Black men or LGBT Black men, unambiguous dark-skinned Black men, kind of doing this so that they can just have a different look, or how they associate it with, I guess, potentially being more feminine or more desirable somehow by kind of changing up their skin tone. And she was saying that not everybody who does this has that bleached look. She said that a part of the reason why people bash it so much is because they're trying to shame others out of doing it. So the way she was making it sound is like skin bleachers themselves are the main ones who are so heavily against bleaching because they don't want anyone to do it. They want others to be scared of doing it, and they want to be the only ones kind of like secretly doing this. And so she was making it sound as if it's almost kind of like this conspiracy amongst some of them, or like some of them don't realize that this is what they're doing, but it's just like another form of gatekeeping, trying to perpetuate this stereotype that everybody who lightens their skin is going to look like Michael Jackson, or they're going to have these whelps. So she was saying that depending on how much money a person has, or depending on how well they know their own skin and how much skincare knowledge they have in general, that is what determines how that person's skin will look. So she was saying that people looking bleached or always having a certain look, she said that that's something that only happens if they are using very cheap creams and gels versus if they are taking supplements. She also mentioned how if people are purchasing the glutathione, by the way, for those of you who don't know, glutathione, that's just an antioxidant. So glutathione is found in fruits. Like if you drink your fruit smoothies, I will go ahead and tell my story time. So when I was in college and I went on this extremely healthy diet, I was like a borderline fruitarian. If you guys are familiar with that, that's a person who mainly eats fruits. So I ended up doing that, not necessarily on purpose, but because I just liked it. I noticed that my skin actually became very, very bright and very clear. And then I had looked it up, like, wow, my skin looks super bright. I don't have the bags under my eyes. Even my teeth appeared to have more of this glow to them. And so I was like, what is this? Like, I looked it up, and then I found out that glutathione, that's like a byproduct of having a lot of fruits and stuff, it actually brightens the skin from within. So when I was mainly drinking a lot of fruit smoothies, I obviously didn't look ghostly or anything. I looked like myself, but I did notice a change in my skin because I had to purchase new foundation, and that was just from drinking the fruit smoothies as kind of the main form of my diet. So she was saying how people will purchase the glutathione supplement, which is just an over-the-counter supplement. You can get it anywhere, just from Amazon, Walmart, pretty much anywhere. She was saying that if it has 500 milligrams or less, that people will take anywhere from about 5 to 7 pills per day. So they're kind of like doubling or tripling the dosage. Some people call it mega dosing. So she said that they would mega dose the glutathione, and that they would take an equal amount of vitamin C, like to match the glutathione, because I guess the vitamin C kind of helps it to absorb. From what I know about vitamin C, I don't think vitamin C stays in your body. So yeah, she was saying that that is something that people do. And she said that for the people who are really into it, they will have multiple different forms of kind of brightening their skin. So she said that a lot of the people that were kind of like staying dark skinned, but maybe they didn't want to be like very ebony colored, maybe they wanted to go from ebony color to like chocolate or something. She said that those types of people will just use the mild stuff, like maybe just use a soap, or they use maybe one lotion or something, but nothing drastic to where you won't recognize them. But she said that there are other people who will use multiple methods of kind of lightening themselves so that they can, I guess, get the desired skin tone that they wanted. So I'm going to show you some of the text messages I sent her. So just now I was kind of summarizing what she said, like it was not via text message, but let's pull up some of the screenshots. So she said she wanted to add some additional information. She said she actually does not have broad features. She said she's been told she looks Ethiopian as far as her features. She said she does not have Bantu features. And so then she said, this is tricky. People get upset at skin lighteners. It's very risky to discuss. And then I told her if there were any comments that she felt uncomfortable with, that I would remove the comments. By the way, sorry if I sound weird. I'm kind of like moving around trying to hold up my phone. But I said, hey, people asked me if you experienced light skin privilege. Like, what was it? I know you mentioned being called ma'am or having guys hold doors for you, etc. Was there anything else? Or do you feel like the real privilege was that you looked how you wanted to look? Because remember, in the last video, she said that she did this because she wanted access to the privilege. She said that it was such a common discussion amongst the dark-skinned, unambiguous people in her community. She said both the men and the women. And she also said it was such a discussion amongst the pro-black community as well, to the point where she became just very curious about it. Like, wow, if it's so different on the other side, why don't I go on the other side, was kind of her mindset. She also did admit in the other video that she did not like how she looked. So I'm not bashing her. I'm just trying to tell you guys that this is something that happens in the unambiguous community. So let's stop pretending that it doesn't happen. But she responded and said, yes, I don't get called bitter anymore when I speak my mind on certain topics. I don't have an angry, bitter, and aggressive label attached to me anymore. I used to get called angry, aggressive, and mean, but people don't say that about me anymore. I also don't get followed in stores like I once did, and people don't look at me with suspicion when I get to certain areas. I enjoyed going to nice areas when I was dark, but was not given great customer service. But now people treat me as if I am somebody. So she is saying that from her experience going from dark skin to light skin, she felt like she has received greater customer service. So, but if you watch the first video, she also talked about how when she was dark skinned and unambiguous, how sometimes she thought that people would be mean to her. And so sometimes she would be mean to them first, or also have kind of these people-pleasing behaviors, which set her up for like these abusive types of situations. But she said, also, other dark-skinned women used to call me ratchet because of my dark skin. But they don't say that anymore. I have a plain, casual style. More businesslike, but now they don't say anything negative towards me. They do roll their eyes like they did before still. So she's saying when she was both dark-skinned and light-skinned, that fellow dark-skinned, unambiguous black women would roll their eyes at her, and that never changed, regardless of her color. And then I said, okay, how did you discover what bleaching was? Did other dark-skinned black women tell you about it, or did you witness someone else doing it? When you were dark-skinned, did other dark-skinned women complain about being treated badly as well? Also, did you experience light-skinned stereotypes when you became light-skinned, like being stuck up or thinking you're better? Also, what did your family think? And did Black American media influence you to bleach? And then she said, I also noticed that I feel more happy and free. I love drinking tea in a fancy teacup and wearing cardigans. I love cardigans, but when I used to wear them, folks assumed that I was just going to work and that it was not a part of my style, when in reality, I enjoy dressing down and many times casual and business. She said, Exotical, you must understand. I came from struggle and poverty, and I never want to go back there again. I must look the part. I feel like you can be dark-skinned and professional too, but it is seen as so masculine to people, especially in the workplace. I do not want to be on anyone's radar for negativity. I want to blend in. Another thing that I've noticed when it comes to this bleaching conversation is people suddenly want to become cancer activists, and say like, oh, these things cause cancer. And it's like, okay, there's lots of food that causes cancer. There are some relaxers that cause cancer. There are so many other things that cause cancer. But suddenly if somebody is like bleaching, then you want to become a cancer activist. And one of my theories is that some of the people who say this are only saying that because, once again, they don't want anyone to be lighter than them, or they, are offended. It's really, the person is usually offended that you don't want to be their skin tone. I mean, that's how I see it. Because, like, let's say somebody my skin tone wants to become Michael Jackson, or they want to become white. I don't necessarily get offended by that, because I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't look down on my skin tone if somebody else doesn't want to have my skin tone. In fact, I've been around white people before, actually, whose skin tone got so tan to where they were close to my color. And then I've actually heard white people say, oh, I want to go back. I don't want my skin to be this dark. But even when white people said that, I didn't view it as, I'm offended because you don't want to be my skin color. I kind of viewed it like, well, I mean, if that's the skin color they want to be, I don't really have control over that. But I've noticed in the Black community, if you do not look unambiguous enough, or if you do something to stop looking unambiguous, then people get very angry because they're like, how dare you not want to look like me? How dare you not want to have my same dark skin tone? How dare you not want to rep my phenotype? And so once again, it's that whole mindset of begging others to be your representation. So like when I experienced this with a white guy at my high school, I don't look to him as being my representation for my skin tone. I can rep my own golden skin tone. So I personally didn't even get offended when a white guy said that. Have you ever had anyone tan to your color? For all the women in the comment section, regardless of whether you're light skin or dark skin, have you ever had anyone lighter than you tan to your color and then want to go back to their original color? Or maybe you know somebody who was your skin tone and they lightened themselves. Did you get offended by that? Because one of the things that this woman was talking about was she was telling me on the phone, like, why do other people care what color I want my skin to be? Like, that's what she was saying to me. Like, why do other people care about my skin? Like, I'm not hurting anyone. All I'm doing is simply taking these supplements that are actually healthy. Now, I don't really know about the dosages and stuff. I'm obviously not a doctor, but she was saying like, yeah, why do other people care about what I do with my skin, or if I want to change how I look? That's kind of the argument that she was giving. But let's look at some other pictures from this secret Facebook group. This girl says, so this girl, she appears to be very mixed in this photo. She could be wearing a wig and she could have been dark skin originally. I don't know. But she said, my complexion is better now than I could have ever imagined. I went from melasma and severe hyperpigmentation to flawless. So she was showing a photo of her. And then she said, this is one of the secret light skin groups I'm in. You will see women that drastically skin lightened and who look different now. If you use their pics, please don't reveal their face and names, which I'm going to be covering them. So this is another person. She said, I started mainly because my arms were ridiculously darker than the rest of my body because I was careless this summer. I see major progress for the 2 months. So this girl had like a farmer's tan and she kind of like got rid of it. And then I said, OMG, this is a bombshell. How does one get into one of these secret light skin groups? I haven't been on Facebook in a long time, but I would love to see more screenshots about this. And then she said none of those are her pics, which I know. And then I said, so do you feel like the bleaching community almost sees themselves as kind of like this elite club on their way to status or something like that? Or similar to how people view leveling up? Because I don't see anyone on there, like on this Facebook group, I don't see anyone bashing dark-skinned Black women. It seems like you guys simply wanted a change for yourselves for whatever reasons. And then she said, here's the group name. And then this is a popular YouTuber, actually. I've seen this woman on YouTube. So if you guys recognize by the picture who this YouTuber is, I can't remember her name, but I mean, she's public. So, and then I said, yeah, I would never dox any of these people. That would get my channel removed anyway. And then I said, how do you become an anonymous member of these groups? Do you have to pay? And do you feel like Black Americans gatekeep skin bleaching as well? Because why would so many Black beauty supplies have an entire aisle of bleaching stuff if no one is buying it? So that's one of the questions I've always asked myself. Like, if no one is buying these creams and stuff, then why is it even on Amazon? Why is it even in the black beauty supply stores. Because I've gone to the beauty supply and I remember seeing this soap that was like light bright or something. It said some sort of name and it had a girl on the photo who looked like my skin tone. I remember the first time seeing it, I was in college and being confused, like, wait, are they saying that it is for my skin tone or are they saying that it's for another skin tone to become my skin tone? But the way that I see it is, why would every beauty supply store in America have these products? You know, because if you're a business owner, obviously you don't carry products that are going to be a waste of money. You restock the products and sell the products that are gaining traction and that are moving off the shelves. And I have noticed that I don't think I've gone to not one beauty supply store that does not have any sort of lightening cream or anything in it at all. And I've lived all over the country, by the way. But she said, you can post anonymously, but you cannot comment to post anonymously. I recommend creating a new Facebook and then joining. Most of us don't put our face pic up. So there's one called Skincare Talk. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name, but if somebody tries to copyright me, I'll just take this video off and then re-upload it without the name in it. She said, that's another website full of people who take glutathione and skin lightening. So much info from that site. Millions of people around the world skin lighten. And she's talking about through any of these methods, not the ones where it's like you're burning your skin. She's talking about people who take, glutathione or NAC, kind of mega dosing those so that they can become bright from within without looking like Michael Jackson. And then I said, do you feel like a lot of darker skinned Black Americans bleach even if they do not become light skinned, like maybe doing a little at a time or simply doing it so that they're quote unquote not the darkest? She said, yes, I would get backlash for even telling anyone about this info because it is so secretive. So the fact that this unambiguous woman is even telling me this, because I'm the untrustworthy one. She said that people in her communities told her not to trust light-skinned women. So the fact that she's even telling me this, that's a part of why she's remaining anonymous. She said, I don't know why it's so secretive, though. Many sellers use more hydroquinone than they reveal on their website. She also said that this is such a commodity to the point where some people are mixing different creams and stuff like that, and they're putting all of these lightening agents in there, and they're selling small bottles of cream for up to $800 because that is how much some people want to kind of lighten. And then she also said, yes, a lot of dark-skinned people lightening using mild brighteners like kojic soap or papaya soap and honey. They call it skin glowing. Skin glow is another name for skin lightening. Remember, many suppliers cannot reveal it is a skin lightening agent to the public, so they name it skin glow. And then I said, oh, okay, oh my gosh, you're right. I've heard people use that term. I thought it was for darker skinned people who can tan to become even darker. And then she said, many brand name companies like this disguise it under fading dark spots, but if you look at their lotions, it's all skin brightening. So notice how there's so much energy against light skinned people who use skin brighteners or whether it's kojic acid. Because by the way, the mild skin brighteners would be some of the ones that I've done before. So like alpha hydroxy acid, lactic acids, kojic acids, fruit acids like vitamin C or something that has lemons in it. I've noticed that there's a lot of smoke for light-skinned people using these things, and then there's even policing of people's skin tones, like Beyonce or other celebrities. But nobody talks about the prevalence of this in the unambiguous community. So then she's showing me screenshots of different, I guess, lightening companies. So this one is called Santiva. And then she says, look at all these brightening supplements. So there's S-acetyl glutathione. So I know that S-acetyl, I think that's like a stronger version of it. And then there's another one called extreme glutathione with liposomal vitamin C. So liposomal, that's when it can like absorb into your body better. She said, I have so many websites bookmarked. I've used this before. It did not do anything for me, and it's expensive. So I think she might be talking about the Santiva one. Or she could be talking about this one. It is called Permanent Skincare. So it's the same thing like supplements, vitamin C and glutathione. She said a person has to buy multiple bottles for years to see results. And then she says certain things may or may not work. There is a woman on YouTube named Asante, and she takes those. She said they work for her. Maybe I will try them again to see if they work for me. I said, so with that whole IV injection thing, are people taking the pills so they can get the same dosage as those who take IVs? And then she screenshotted me the duration of results. So on some of these websites, they're actually telling you based on your skin tone, this is how long it will take for you to become light skinned. So for this permanence one, it says duration of intake. So for these pills, if you are medium brown skin, 1 to 3 months, you'll become light skin. Very dark brown skin, 3 to 6 months. Very brown skin, 6 to 12 months. And very dark skin, 1 to 2 years. So that's on one of these websites where it's showing the glutathione and vitamin C. And this same girl, she says, I started very dark skin when I started taking those. So remember, this is the girl she was Kelly Rowland's shade. She is now, I think she said Fenty 240 or something like that. And she's also the same one that said that she confirmed Kelly's doing the same thing as her, or doing the IVs because she can afford it. And then she said, I stopped taking them years ago, but now if I take them again, I would see results quicker. So she's saying that the lighter a person is, the quicker they would see, I guess, the lightening of these products. For those of you who are familiar with the Fitzpatrick scale, depending on where you fall on the Fitzpatrick scale, you can become more and more pale over a quicker period of time versus those who are darker on the Fitzpatrick scale. And that's exactly why when I did the Kelly Rowland video, I said that the people were gaslighting me and the people were talking bullshit because Kelly Rowland would be like the darkest on the Fitzpatrick scale. So anyone who's knowledgeable about the Fitzpatrick scale and how skin works, you would know that if you are like a 5 on the Fitzpatrick scale, you don't just simply go from deep chocolate coffee to suddenly being pastel yellow. Like, no, just like how it's very hard for white people to tan to Kelly Rowland's color, it's very difficult for someone Kelly Rowland's color to go all the way up to damn near Beyonce and Chloe Bailey's color. And this is just based on the Fitzpatrick scale. If you don't believe me, please Google what that is. And then she said, yes, you have to take a lot of the supplements daily. I never swallow them. I open the capsules and pour them into water. Results were fast for me. That's the secret. Pour all of the capsules into water with the vitamin C. Never ever swallow the capsule. I call it a skin lightening drink. I open capsules and pour it all into a water bottle and take it that way. People who swallow the capsule never see the results. I see them all the time under videos and comments saying how it never works for them. The taste is horrible, but it works. For max results, I also take 2 types of glutathione, like 2 brands. And then she said, IV is better. It is better for those looking for quick results or going to an event in a month. Oh, so could that have been what Kelly Rowland did? You know, because she's a celebrity and maybe she had a special event to go to, such as the one she just went to, like Coachella. Then she said, there are so many websites and so much information. So when this woman was leaving me voicemails and stuff, she was kind of talking about how because of how lucrative it is, there are scammers, or because of how desperate some people are to kind of change their appearance or whatever, that some people are hurting themselves with these different creams and gels. If a person is doing this, like if they're trying to lighten their skin or whatever, they are going to have a lot of hit and miss experiences with all these different creams or different vitamins and stuff, because she's commenting saying, you know, some of the people, they swallow the capsule, then it doesn't work, and then, you know, she has to like put it in her water and drink the water to make sure that she gets all of the powder that's like inside of the capsule. And then other people are like burning their skin, some people are spending all this money, and so it's heavily gatekept, I guess. And there are a lot of people who end up ruining their skin, but then there are kind of like this amount of people who, depending on their money and depending on their knowledge, they are able to do this and have it look, I guess, natural to where you would have never known because they're not using those mercury creams and stuff. She said, this is a lot. One video on skin lightening may not cut it. So she's talking about me making this follow-up video. She says, so many people have been told lies about it, but I make sure I am safe also. Celebrities use IVs. Here is another lady. Then she shows me a lady kind of with a similar skin tone to Kelly Rowland. And then she said, she looks amazing AF. I said, yes, I'm going to have to make a follow-up video. People are very interested in your story. And then she said, her transformation was shocking. And I said, do you feel like unambiguous dark-skinned black men are secretly using some of these creams as well? And yes, I listened to 2 of the audios. I'm about to listen to the others. She said, oh my gosh, so many African American men do this as well. I have met a guy on Tagged a few years ago who told me that he lightened his skin. I was shocked he even told me this. He was dark brown and had locks. He said that he lightened his skin. He was now light-skinned, but said that he stopped. Many gay men do this as well. There are so many gay men that skin lighten also, especially if they are a bottom. So I'm assuming she means like a power bottom, like TD Jakes, like that. She says the guy with locks wasn't gay, but he said he wanted a different look. He showed me his before pic, and he looked very dark brown. I have so many stories. And then I said, by the way, there's a question someone asked from the Discord. And this girl says, nobody ever talks about how straight men and gay men skin lighten. So men are doing this as well in the unambiguous community. So someone in the Discord asked, I would like to know what her largest motivator is for bleaching skin. If she feels that skin bleaching proves that darker skin is less desirable, or if it shows that darker skinned black people are made to not feel valued by their unambiguous dark skinned peers. Like, is it a pull factor, light skin being beautiful, wanting advantages that MLS are believed to have and sometimes do? Or is it a push factor, trying to escape the way that black people treat you as someone who is dark skinned and female? I ask because some of what the last girl said is similar to how some MLS women feel who are already very light, in the sense that they may feel less and less obliged to be a part of the black community in any way, shape, or form, including the way they identify. So this girl says there was a popular gay guy a while back on YouTube who lightened his skin, but he received a ton of backlash. His name was Frank White, but he did not take any supplements at all. That is why he still looks so dark. So this guy lightened himself. This is with no pills or anything. This is just using, I guess, face wash and stuff like that. She said, that's him in the pic. He is nowhere to be found online. He just vanished. Then she says, the biggest motivator for skin lightening is to receive the privilege and like the way that I look when I look in the mirror. She says, I will never look mixed or light-skinned, and that's okay. I just wanted a lighter skin tone. I definitely consider the Fenty 200s to be light-skinned. She says, yes, I wanted to escape the way that black people treated me. I think black people don't bother mixed or light-skinned people that much. I say that because they would assume you are mixed with white, so you are protected. That is a privilege, a good thing. The unambiguous black women who bully mixed or light skins are the ones who are heavy into being pro-black at all costs, like Dr. Umar. And many unambiguous black women have no room to talk because their actions are also anti-black. How come they don't stay in the hood then, around their people, if they are so pro-black? It is highly annoying. I can't take people seriously anymore. And then I said, yep, I understand. She said, it's crazy because I never heard unambiguous black women bring up features until the past 5 years. Before then, it was all about skin tone. It's another way to bring light-skinned people and skin lighteners down. I refuse to listen. Think about it. 10 years ago, nobody in the black community talked about featureism. It was either red bone or yellow bone. Now people get upset if someone uses those terms. Why? Then I said, true. She said, thanks for listening. Please reach out if someone has questions. Please note that I have healed from all this drama with colorism. I am obsessed with your channel. I watch every video you put up. It has helped me a lot and so many others. And then she said she screenshotted this thing that Black China uses. You remember when Black China did that thing called like Whitey-licious or whatever? It's like the soaps and the lotions. But yeah, so this is definitely something that happens in the unambiguous African American community. Depending on how many more comments I get where people are gaslighting about Kelly Rowland, I don't want to have to pull up 10 years worth of Kelly Rowland's Getty images on my YouTube channel in order to make this something that you can't argue with. But I will do that if I need to, because this is something that I've noticed the so-called empowerment channels, or the channels that are supposed to be overcoming certain things or dissecting certain things. I don't see any of those channels talking about this stuff, but I do see a lot of people lying and pretending like, oh, all these light-skinned people are just, they're bleaching, and oh, they're dating light-skinned men so that they can keep their skin light. All the light-skinned girls hang out with each other. So all this smoke for people who have lighter skin tones, but no addressing this issue in the unambiguous community. By the way, this woman says that her fellow dark-skinned black women were mean to her and called her ratchet, and that they told her not to trust light-skinned black women, even though she said light-skinned black women were actually nice to her, and that the dark-skinned unambiguous women at her job fired her. She said she got fired twice, yet we're the ones who are supposedly the enemies. And then she just sent me this other thing, and she says it's $450 for a small bottle of this NVIDIA Body Beautifying Toning Milk. She texted me just now, and I said, so overall, is your skin healthy and your body? Some people think that glutathione overworks the liver. Have you had any health problems during this whole thing? She said, yes, I went to the doctors and he was shocked that I did not have any negative effects. I said, also, do you think African Americans purchase those cheap lightening creams from the beauty supply store, which is why they sell them? She said, I eat healthy and take vitamins to keep my skin healthy. I also take vitamins for anti-aging. I said, do you feel like some people just don't want anyone to be lighter than them, which is why they don't want you to expose the skin lightening industry? For example, do you think anyone could have seen it as a competition, like one day I'm going to be lighter than her, that sort of thing, even if they've never said it? She said, agreed. I think people do not want anyone to lighten because they do not want anyone to be lighter than them. I get a lot of hate from biracial and light-skinned women. So she's saying now, as a light-skinned woman, she gets more hate from fellow biracials and light-skinned women. Versus when she was a dark-skinned black woman, she got more hate from dark-skinned black women. She said, I assume they don't want me to be lighter than them, when I'm not lighter than them, but I could be much lighter than them in 2 weeks if I put on cream 2 times a day, every day for 2 weeks. Okay, so I'm assuming that the more you put on these creams, the more or the faster the person would lighten. So she's saying if she puts it on 2 times a day for 2 weeks, then she would be lighter than these people. She said, yes, African Americans purchase cheap creams full of steroids and mercury, which can cause skin cancer. I said, also, I believe someone in the comments section asked what you used because they have dark spots. She said, to people saying it caused cancer, it's partially true if they use steroids and mercury. The images you see of women on Google used cheap creams full of mercury and steroids. It caused their skin to turn super dark. I use an extreme whitening lotion from an African seller, and I add creams of a half-cast whitening oil. I said, okay, do you know of anyone who is a quote-unquote good example of looking natural? Would Kelly Rowland be an example of that? She said, K. Michelle. She was very dark before and lightened her skin. Then she sent me some pictures. She said she was medium brown and went to light brown to light skin. She looks like a totally different person. She had her PR team wipe the net of all of her old pics. And by the way, she said that these people are using IVs. So I did look up online the IV bars just to see like if this is what I was thinking of, which is like the IV bars in your city. You know how you can get an IV of like vitamin B or like you can get a hydration IV. Like I've had to go there before when I was running and stuff to get hydration. So it's the same thing. So basically people are doing this at their local IV bars, and I'm pretty sure that whatever city a person lives in probably affects that. Anyway, that is just an update on what she has said. I've also had multiple other people contact me who have done whether it's skin bleaching or tanning or lightening and then going back dark. So I've got more of those videos coming soon. But what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comments section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.